Yeah.
Okay, we will come back to Pirouette House.
Yes. Yes.
Pirouette House had a lot of limitations because you can see the property is so small that I couldn't actually scourge mud out. So generally from the property itself, I will take some mud out and make mud blocks. There will be some area. Kerala is not a typically so close knit area that you can't build with anything. So Pirouette House, unfortunately, was a place where that uh, didn't allow me to go full into the mud architecture that I would have wanted to go. Plus, I had a personal agenda in Pirouette House of utilizing fabrics because the local fabrics was going out of business. And this is the place where Laurie Baker made such an impact to the large Indian population. This is in Trivandrum, literally the place where Laurie Baker settled and did most of his work. So for me, in some sense, I wanted to do something with fabrics as long as I could remember. And the opportunity presented itself only at this project, where I simply couldn't make earth bricks or scourge the earth because it is again a flooding area. You can see that the plinth was raised because this is again near a river, and the plinth was raised as much as possible. So I had to take locally procured fabrics from the locality, and when we went for fabrics, we understood that they are shutting down. So I made a plea to them to not shut down. Let's do one final swan song, and maybe we will never ever work with fabrics. And uh, and this is it. I had a lot to offer uh, with this technique.
Yeah. So, uh, since you use this bricks, and as I mentioned earlier, it's been quite architects in India have been using it. Aside from the influence of Laurie Baker, is there like a historical reference to this, to the use of bricks that from India has been going on since perhaps the ancient times that you just want to continue?
Not really. To be honest, this particular area was famous in utilizing mud and lime, mud bricks, sun-dried mud bricks and lime. It is the British that brought fire bricks to our midst, to be honest. And I think in areas like Gujarat and all, there was something like mandap architecture that happened, which is north of India, not in our area. Fire bricks were used in those areas traditionally. But in our areas, we were primarily sun-dried bricks because we are tropics, so we will easily find a very good sunny day to dry our earth bricks. So this is something which is a part of Victorian conquest, aftermath of Victorian conquest that we followed. And there are a lot of fields in Kerala, farming fields. So every year when the rivers rise up into these farming fields, rice fields, paddy fields, because rice is our staple food, and the excessive silt and clay can be made into bricks. That is how the traditional country fire bricks operated. So it was a byproduct that was made into fire bricks. Now let's put the efficiency of the uh, country fire brick kilns aside. These were actually a byproduct, and there was a need for this kind of uh, you know um, uh, material. But off late, for the last 20 years or 2 decades or so, our farming has reduced drastically, which means that the making these kind of country fabrics is not possible anymore. So this industry is on the decline, and whatever some architecture firms are trying to bring bricks from outside, I do not think it is a very sustainable. It's more of a nostalgia. Even I am not fully on for this. This is my one swan song to somebody I love so much and adore so much. and I had no option to make my own bricks at that particular area. So I thought, so I got an opportunity here. Let me utilize it maximum. So yeah.
And I can see there is a lot of movement in these walls and like the floor plan, like everywhere. There was any special idea behind using this much like movement and curve in the design?
Yes, I didn't want to create the typical, like uh, how to say, typical brick walls in that sense, because I have been testing movement for uh, many years, like in bricks, like creating sinusoidal walls and stuff like that. I have been doing it. And I thought, this can be a project because the wind direction was unidirectional, because it had wind coming only from the west, one single direction. And this project faced the west. So for me, it was very important. So it's an east-west orientation, this project is. And for me, it was very important that I do not put any walls against the wind direction. As you can imagine, if the walls are aligned along with the this thing, and creates, because of the dancing of the walls, if it creates some stack effect kind of thing, it would increase the wind flow speed. So I was concerned about the not just the volume of air, but also the wind flow speed, because this is a crowded community, and chances of wind coming itself is less. So whatever wind came, I wanted to make sure that, so whenever the wind has a higher volume as compared to a smaller volume, there is a pressure change that happens, which would increase the velocity of air. So this was very carefully done after analyzing the 3D, doing the 3D images of this, and making the 3D of this, and then seeing how much of volume of air will be compressed, how it would create a good velocity. So you can see that the entire project, there are no walls which are facing against the winds, with the exception of one wall or something. Otherwise, there is no walls which are facing against the wind. But so for me, these are very important things: light, air. Those are my priorities, even bigger than, in some sense, like, because boundaries we can create, walls we can create. There is no problem in creating walls. But what do we do about, a place where there is very little light available, very little air available? You need these things. These are our priorities.
Yes, exactly. And if you close this like opening, you couldn't use brick. It wasn't that much sustainable material if you close this facade.
Yes.
I've noticed that I guess in this house and the previous house, do you always use passive cooling? And I guess I saw a ceiling fan, but I guess they don't have to rely on like air conditioning much in your design.
No. We are very much into passive cooling. Even in the toughest areas, we rarely put the air conditioning. But the increasing temperatures, I have no clue how to handle that. We are trying our best.
And
Like, like the temperatures are just
right.
now getting too much. I wouldn't blame. So I had a healthy, uh, how to say, uh, good thermal coefficiency variations. We have registered temperatures inside and outside with a variation of as much as 8 degrees to 9 degrees.
Yeah.
But but if the outside temperature from 30 to 35 and to 40 to 45, it creates even more problems, isn't it? And air conditioning is, I am a victim of air conditioned systems. I was born and brought up in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, UAE, and because I was brought up in a conditioned environment, it was always difficult for me to play and work in the natural environment. So I do not want subsequent generations to fall prey to that. So we always support passive cooling systems. The walls are made into a particular rat trap bond, which was made famous by Laurie Baker again. So we did a small interpretation of our take on a rat trap bond. So there is also thermal insulation happening in the form of air trapped inside the fabric walls.
Yeah, and I guess that's help. That also helps in the.
It helps. It
Yes,
helps. It absolutely helps.
Yeah. And one more thing that I find interesting is the way you actually form the walls, the curving walls. I suppose you didn't use much advanced application or software to do the
No, no,
design.
no, no.
Yeah,
My masons do it. You know, it's a
basic. Yeah.
it's a simple basic thing. Today we consider our human resources as just tools. We forget how wonderful and how progressive it is to use uh, yeah, our fellow beings uh, uh, to create wonders like this. Today we are always interested about the end product. So interestingly, in this project, my masons came out and the junior architect at that time, Oshin Varghese, also came out with an interesting way to do this. Very simple, using leaves and counterweights and stuff like that. We balance it out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really admire about your approach, because you do it like on site and without relying too much on advanced technology, and yet you're able to come up with this very nice uh, forms with your with your design. And I think
There is
But
also
what?
a
yes,
message.
yes,
There is also a message. There is also a word of people are talking so much about this parametric software and things about building with robotic arms in an energy deficient country like mine and many other countries, developing countries, which are energy deficient. I don't even think US is, energy efficient. Every place is energy deficit, and most of these places simply think because they found cheap labor and they found countries to invade and take energy from doesn't mean that you can rely on this like modern so-called fast construction techniques. uh, the rice and the fish that our people eat is often translated into this wonderful work. So I think this is also to showcase that what you think is unskilled and outdated can actually bring a real wonderful architecture. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Your the way you do the design really sends a good message to the architecture industry. I believe
thank
that.
you,
Yeah.
thank you.
But I have one question here.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
did you manage to convince builders to follow this pattern? You mentioned you spent a lot of time in the site, but I can imagine these forms can be complex for them. Like they used to like make a very, very simpler design, but then you have this complex form that you want to shape this on the site. So what's the process here? Like how you convince them and make this
Yeah, I
form?
don't have to convince any builders because I trained them. So here the relationship is different. It is not simply me giving some drawings and telling somebody to take a tender and build it. Whoever is taking the tender, we teach them. So recently we did a pavilion in Sharjah, which was built by a completely new contractor and his masons who were all from Pakistan, who never seen anything called, like mud architecture or anything. In fact, they were new to the profession of construction itself. And yet, we could always be the teacher. The architect, if educated, can be a teacher. And he or she must be a teacher, according to me. Then all these processes become easier, isn't it? But until and unless you are a teacher, you are an educated person in the field of the science, this construction science. I think you will find a lot of roadblocks. So here, my relationship with these workers is different. I think there is a picture of these workers also. I think if you forward in one of the pictures, there's my workers also, I think.
Yeah, I think this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, here.
we have a group photo actually with them. So, so most of them are trained by us. They learned their baby steps with us.
Yeah. And
Now
maybe
they are some of the most wonderful, skilled masons of their time.
Yeah.
That is also something you can be proud of, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like upgrading the skills of the local craftsmen.
Yes. Phenomenal, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of this project that you posted where you used tires to create the structure, and
yeah.
I believe you mentioned that it almost looks like an AI generated image, but it's actually not, and that's
No,
one of the
it's
things
not.
that really amazes me with your work. It gives the illusion that it's
so we are kind of making a much ado about nothing, to be honest, to take the Shakespearean quote. Uh, our ancestors did much more than what we are doing right now with simpler materials, simpler tools. And at this age of modernity, if we cannot surpass them, aren't we going backward? Is my question. They have given us so much knowledge, our ancestors, over generations, that we are just bound to one single material and being one dimension. Let's say just concrete and some steel, and that's it. The world is finished. That's not that's not all. There is a lot of things that we learn from our predecessors, that we should be able to move forward with these techniques, isn't it? I hope that happens.
Yeah, exactly. I do believe that like the recent generations are becoming much more lazier because of the technology, and it's a shame that this craftsmanship are we're losing that.
I wouldn't exactly say they have become lazier. It's just that it's out of their reach. A lot of wonderful things have been lost. And I wouldn't blame the new generation for it. I would blame my generation for trying to take the profit concept much into consideration. So recently I heard a wonderful filmmaker in our era. His name is Maniratnam, and he actually talked about something like, today people are concerned about numbers. How much did this movie gross? How much did that thing happen? How much profit did it make? How much money did the hero make? How much money did the production company make? Nobody is bothered about how good that film is. Let's say it flops. So what? You made a wonderful thing. So I blame the yesteryear's architects who took only that numbers, those numbers in the game. I want to do so many projects. I want to make a lot of money. I want to lead at this thing. You forgot about about innovation. You forgot about research. You forgot about moving on. You forgot about eco-friendly sustainability. These are all words that is used for some phrases. Recently, I saw a movie of Martin Scorsese, which is probably the best movie I have watched in recent times. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
And there was nobody in theater, just me and my wife sitting there and watching this phenomenal movie. So what if that movie flopped? It is one of the best movies my eyes could see. Ever.
Yes.
I mean, like, what makes you stop creating those things? These numbers are just a ball game. It's about marketing. It's about this thing. The world is going to the fire. And if you still are bothered about a practice called architecture, which I believe is the least accountable of all the destructive sciences that is happening on Earth. So when do we become that? When do we like start understanding there is more to life than like simple these kind of pursuit of like a safe career and stuff like that. We do not have a career. Architects don't have a career if we do not innovate.
Yeah, exactly. I really love the opinion that you just shared, where people right now are just profit driven. It's all about money. Yeah.
It's all a numbers game today.
Yeah.
What numbers are we talking about?
Yes.
If the Indian rupee drops again few points, what is the point of me earning some more lakhs? Because again, in the world economy, it just dropped its value. You understand? So there are a lot of things at stake. Let's focus on something else. Focus on like real research, real problems.
And I guess just one last quick question from me before we go to the final question.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to build this project?
This project around 2.5 years, two
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 and a half-
years, 2
2
years,
years, 2 years.
2 years, two
Okay.
years. 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine because of the complex forms. Maddie, do you have any final questions for this project before we move on? I mean, yeah, we don't also want to take too much of your time. So, um, Maddie?
Actually, today I just enjoyed talking with Vino and his experience and like this amazing ideas. And even I think we already know the answer to our final question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Vino, what's your advice to the younger generation of architects that want to start their own career?
That is something which I am often asked, and my answer has been something similar most of the time. Is that when when we are kids, like they say, if you don't study really fast and hard, you will lose in life. Somewhere, the media and the industries and everyone around you are just telling you about how fast you should achieve your goals in life. There is no time for you to reflect for the younger generation. We all think if by 25 we do not walk like Andrew Tate, we are some miserable failure in life. And if we don't walk like who is that other idiot I see, some of these Instagram, fellows, influencers and stuff like that. And to be honest, even I used to think, like at 25, I will change the world and everything. I have started this mud construction, everything will fall into place. People will accept, people will jump into earth architecture as soon as they see one of my buildings and stuff like that. A lot of time and like the reality struck me very hard. But today I realize we never give ourselves time. Please, life is not going to end day after tomorrow. Life is not going to end very soon. Take your time. Don't get overwhelmed by all these stories of progress and luxury around you. You know, take your own time. Take a lot of time. Enjoy the process. It's going to be difficult for the younger generation of architects to even earn a lifestyle. Most of them actually are not doing what they learned. And the ones who are doing will find it very hard, and if they want to do something very genuine, they will find it extremely punishing. But go through that, you know and when you don't get the results in the time that you uh, you know told yourself, or the required time that the world told you, it's okay. Slowly, steadily, keep swimming, as this movie, Finding Nemo or Finding Dory says. You keep swimming, and at some point of time, suddenly, you find that you are in better waters. You are able to handle things much more better than before, and suddenly some people are saying, I love your thoughts, I love your principles, and you are like thinking, are you even listening to what I'm saying? At some point of time, suddenly you find that your voice is heard. You are not invisible anymore. you know Today, there are many architects, young fellows who, yeah, male, female, and whatnot. All of them feel that their voice is not heard, their message is not heard. It's not necessary. It will take time. Just give yourself time. Things will slowly fall into place.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vinu. Thank you for being with us today. Personally, I had such a great time and I learned a lot. Wish you the best of luck in the following projects. You deserve it, man.
Thank you.
I just love the values that you bring and all the insights that you shared. I think it's really valuable to all our viewers, and I hope it reaches many people.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for calling.